my name is Isabel. I'm a junior at Bennington, and I'm studying biology and dance mainly, animal biology mostly. One of my favorite fieldwork terms that I had was kind of a split fieldwork term. I had the first half was a class trip with a coral reef class where we got to go to the Cayman Islands and get scuba certified and scuba dive in the coral reefs, which was incredible. And the second half was I was a data analyst for a individual who was doing an experiment, and she needed help with doing the data analyzing, and that was for an experiment that had to do with how certain movement techniques can affect response time. So I was going through some EMP readings and marking when it was a significant difference and to see how long the response time was to push a button from when they had a prompt. So the first one, the scuba diving one, I got through just a class. I was in a class and with Betsy, who is retired, and she offered this trip every few years that was to go to the Cayman Islands. So that was very lucky. I got to just do that with people in my class, which was really fun. And I had to pay a lot out of pocket, but it was definitely worth it. And then I got the second one actually through Handshake, and that one was really last minute because I thought that the Cayman Islands trip was going to be my whole fieldwork term. I thought it would count as my whole fieldwork term, but it didn't. So I had to really scrounge around for a second fieldwork term to get the rest of my hours in there to get to the full 200. And so I got that one pretty last minute. I was just like applying to a bunch of different things that I found on Handshake, and that was actually the first one I got on Handshake. So that's pretty exciting. It actually worked. A lot of times I've been like hesitant to use Handshake, but this time it really worked very well, and I think it does for a lot of people. And so I applied to that, and she emailed me back, and so I started to work with her, and that was in New York City. Yeah, and that specific fieldwork term, like both of them together, was really significant for me, mostly because it showed me like these two halves to what science can be. So it was like field studies, going out in the field, obviously in like a ridiculously beautiful environment. That's a little bit like, it's not super representative of necessarily field work at all, but sort of like the idyllic thing that field work could be in like scuba diving. And then for me, the side of science that I'm not as interested in, which was like doing this data analyzing and just going through spreadsheets. So this fieldwork term was really significant for me because it showed me, oh, fieldwork is what I want to do, this is what it can be, and oh, I'm really not interested in this data aspect. Presumably if it was my own data that I was collecting, I might be more interested in it, but yeah, it was not, that half of the fieldwork term was not for me. It was not very fun. I was a little bit upset. Not with anyone, it just wasn't what I wanted to do, and I got to realize that through that fieldwork term, which was super exciting. Yeah, even though it was a little bit painful, I came away with a lot of valuable information, which is that that's not what I want to do. And in terms of like how relevant it was to my plan, it was this fieldwork term shifted my plan. Before I was going to be I came to Bennington doing visual arts, and when I went on this trip to the Cayman Islands, that's when it kind of like clicked, like, oh, I need to do biology, I need to do field work, even if I can never reach this idyllic type of field work. Being out and being in animals' environments is really important to me, and simultaneously it let me narrow in on what kind of science I want to do. So it wasn't just switching from visual arts to science in this fieldwork term, but it was realizing what kind is really important to me, and that being maybe like a research assistant is not for me. That's not what I need to do. But yeah, it showed me that I love science, and I still enjoyed the data analyzing fieldwork term, but just in comparison, it was not what I needed. It was not the best thing for me. Yeah, so that was my best fieldwork term that I had, in terms of experience and in terms of learning what I need to do for myself. Thank you.